Eventually my game came out and it sold around $20,000, which is crazy, but the lesson here is that Curation didn't filter out all the stinkers like it was meant to. Eventually, as more and more games were uploaded to Steam Greenlight, something both devastating yet wonderful happened. Valve saw the writing on the wall, and on June 6, 2017, put an end to Steam Greenlight. But what would replace it? Well, 1 year prior, on June 13th, 2016, they started a new program called Steam Direct. So basically, they just left the floodgates wide open. For a while, there was just a lot of slop and games coming in, and while it was oversaturated, there were still some gems being discovered by people willing to dig through the excessive number of titles released each day. Well, that was the case until at last the floodgates gave way to the most popular genre of video games. On July 16th, 2024, 7 years after the introduction of Steam Direct, Valve decided it was time to accept NSFW games. Now, with nothing protecting the Steam ecosystem, all developers and games have an equal chance of success. It's not a beauty pageant with cheat codes anymore. Instead, it's about marketing and bringing an audience to the game yourself, which brings me to my next point about curation. Without curation, you have to find and grow an audience by yourself. That could be posting on social media, streaming on Twitch, making YouTube videos. Maybe it's all of those things. More on that later. But in the past, you could rely on the platform you were releasing on for some amount of sales and attention to be put onto your game. But when there are more than 100 games being released each day, there's just no way to give each of those titles their own audience. There are, of course, bundling services like Humble Bundle, but it's intended and treated as a post-release benefit for games rather than a curation service for up-and-coming titles. Matter of fact, Humble Bundle stopped doing game publishing a few years ago because even publishers are having a rough time staying afloat in the current ecosystem. Also, I've had one of my own games in a Humble Bundle, and my share of sales was abysmal. Not their fault. Who wants 5 bad indie games for $6? Maybe you. I don't know. Should've bought it. Big companies will continue to thrive, and first-time developers may find that making games isn't a viable source of income anymore. It never was a safe career choice, but in the past you could rely on skills and experience to create video games that people would have to play. The saying was, good games sell themselves, but that isn't the case anymore. There's hundreds of good games released every month, so how do you stand out without curation? I don't know, I can't answer that question. Maybe you make a self-help game dev podcast, or you try to emulate Billy Basso's brand of autism. It's not a dig at Amwell, by the way. I love that game, and I really mean, like, I wish I could be as good at making games as my boy Billy. But not all of us are born with the innate skills and influences that lead to success, and this is even more true if marketing is one of the required skills. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom, and actually it's more like boobs and coom.